grain meals, I think protein first. So base my entire meal around usually a meat or an egg. Then I'll think through vegetables, and then usually lastly the carbs. And so this week I want to take you along and just give you some more ideas. I also have a delicious pudding that has a ton of eggs in it. I know that one has been on popular request, so I'm really excited to share that with you, and a little twist on it as well. But today I am starting off with some cornbread. So we'll move over here to my grain mill. Yesterday I made a giant pot of chili, and personally I think chili is even better a day or two later after all those flavors have had time to meld and marry and all that fun stuff. But today I want to make some cornbread waffles to go with it. We're going to use 100% fresh milled for the all-purpose part, and then of course I actually have some fresh ground cornmeal over in this bowl ready. There's 2 cups of that, and so I need 2 cups of fresh milled flour as well. I'm using hard white wheat berries. Then we're going to add 2 cups of cornmeal, a cup of milk, or I'm actually using buttermilk today because I have a lot of that on hand. We'll do 2 eggs, and then about 3½ teaspoons of baking powder, a teaspoon of salt, and then I'll do a 1/3 cup of coconut oil. You could also use butter or avocado oil. And then 2/3 cup of honey. And then we'll just stir that together well and take it over to the waffle press. Wow, that smells so good. I have some leftover chive butter. Essentially, it has some salt and some chives. I think I put in a little onion powder, but I thought that would add some delicious flavor. So I'm gonna actually brush that on my waffle press here instead of like a cooking spray today. So excited to share with you how I turn 40 eggs into one of the most delicious desserts. This has been on repeat in our home for snacks and for desserts. I feel like this will continue to be a summer staple for us, even perfect for like potlucks and barbecues and by the poolside. And I'm going to show you 2 variations of it. But before I do that, I want to mix up my electrolytes for the day. Yes, this is a daily drink for me. It's especially refreshing as we get into some of these warmer days, and such a great way to replenish all those electrolytes that you're losing when you're sweating. Even just as a stay-at-home mom, you do not have to be an athlete out in the field to benefit from electrolytes, and I'm so grateful that Element is sponsoring this portion of today's video. Again, if you are not familiar with Element, they are an amazing option for electrolyte drinks. And by the way, what I'm doing is I love to mix it with ice water. So I just put in one of my favorite flavors, which is watermelon. And then I like to add in a little bit of cranberry juice. Ooh, look how pretty that is. I love that like mixing action. This combination has so many incredible benefits, and it was actually really funny last time that I filmed a sponsorship with them. Every like 5 seconds, one of the kids would come in and be like, "Mom, can I have some? Can you share that with me? Can I have another sip?" And it was hilarious. Anyway, This is a fan favorite in our house. But what I was saying, Element is such a great option for electrolytes. They have all the good things in that you need, aka a lot of salt, and nothing that you don't need, aka sugar. In one packet like this, you are getting 1000 mg sodium, 200 mg potassium, and 60 mg magnesium. So amazing, amazing. Love that. I actually take this out to the garden with me and sip on it there, or when I'm out mowing, or even just in the house. By the way, if you're someone that struggles with a lot of headaches, even not sleeping well, or joint pain, or some of those things, a lot of people have seen big improvement with those things just by taking this. But personally, a big benefit that I've seen is in hormone health. So I used to have really, really rough cycles. Like I would plan my whole month around those 6 days, and that is something that I've seen major, major improvement with this. Element recently just launched another new flavor that I have not yet tried, but would love to get my hands on. That is the pink lemonade. I think that launched beginning of April. But if you would like to give Element a try, they were so generous to offer you a free sample pack, which by the way is amazing to kind of figure out what flavors are your favorite. These are some of their customer favorites, which I would highly agree. These are some of my personal favorites. Raspberry, we have orange, we have citrus, and watermelon. So you'll get all of those for free in an 8-count pack when you go to drinkelement.com/golden hour and place any order. Those will be free. So again, that's drinkelement.com/golden hour for a free sample pack with any order. All right, let me make a little bit of space and we'll get to our delicious egg dessert that could totally count for breakfast. So I like to start off with a crust. And by the way, my sister Julia gave me this idea of the egg pudding. She's like, Steph, you have so many eggs on hand. You should make a hard-boiled egg pudding. It's my favorite breakfast. And she went on and on. So I was like, I need to mess around with that. And so we have, and it has been a great success. The way that we love to do it is to start with a graham cracker crust. So that's what I have here in my pan. For a 9x9 pan, I would do 20 eggs, and that's about how many can fit into my blender here, so I'll just do 2 batches of that. For a 9x13 pan, I go with 40 eggs. Yes, 40. I know it's so many eggs, but don't knock it until you try it. My crust has fresh milled graham crackers. Obviously, you could use store-bought graham crackers. You just want to crush them, mix them with some butter, and then I like to throw this into the oven for just a couple minutes to let that turn into a nice crust so it doesn't just crumble later when you're serving it. And then I'm gonna take my eggs. So this is literally like a 15-minute project to make this pudding if your eggs are cooked and peeled. I'm gonna do 20 at a time. I tried making this for our small group the other day and tried to do the whole thing at once, and it basically blew up, got on my just like spring cleaned kitchen walls, cabinets, all over my arm. It was a disaster. And so I learned my lesson, and I'm gonna split it in half before I mix it all. 20 eggs.
And lights too.
You want lights too? I snuck it.
Snuck it. Snuck it.
I snuck it, I know. You can't believe I snuck it, huh? Yummy. Then we'll do a cup of cocoa powder, as well as a cup of maple syrup, half a teaspoon of salt, and then we're gonna do a little bit of milk. Now this is what's gonna decide how thin your pudding will be. So if you add more milk, it'll be a thinner pudding. If you add less milk, it'll be thicker, more like custardy. So I like to start with about a 3/4 cup. I find that's about the right amount, but you can do more or less depending on how thin you want your pudding. And this is the point where you're like, what did I just put in my blender? That can never be delicious. I know it takes a little bit of faith, but just hang in there because it is about to be delicious. Gonna scrape down the sides quick. The main thing is just making sure you don't have clumps. So you do want like a high-powered blender so that you don't have clumps of hard-boiled eggs, because I have a feeling that could quickly ruin the experience. Okay, so I'm gonna pour this over my crust and then basically just do the exact same thing all over again so that I have my double batch on there. And then I actually like to top it with some whipped cream, just makes it feel like that full dessert. This would also be so cute in those little see-through like dessert cups, do individual portions, whatever. So many options. For my whipping cream, I'm just gonna whip heavy cream with some maple syrup. I like to throw in some vanilla bean paste and that's it, and top it with that. Can you believe that this is eggs? It is just unbelievable. I have served this to a lot of people since then and nobody can believe that we're eating eggs. Just incredibly smooth and rich and delicious. Well, I guess I'm gonna go with a thinner layer of pudding. I miss my old Vitamix. I used that thing for years and years and years. I think I had it for 8 years before I think it was the motor finally gave out. This is a newer version, and like with a lot of newer appliances, it has all these safety things, and so after running it for a little while, it just shuts itself off, and I have to wait like a, I don't know, half hour or so, sometimes an hour. It doesn't seem to always be the same amount of time before it's gonna run again. And I don't have time to sit here and wait for it. So we'll enjoy that later. In fact, why don't I just use that then for the second option of doing that. But before I tell you about that, let's put our whipped cream on this. It'll still taste delicious. It'll just be a little bit of a thinner layer of pudding. And there it is. Oh my goodness. You have to try this. Definitely such a fun and delicious way to use up eggs. I would love to see the creations that you guys make with this pudding. So tag me on Instagram or send me an email with a picture or something, because I have a feeling this will be a fan favorite. Okay, now for the second variation. This is a little bit more niche maybe. If you have a Ninja Creamy, I had made a giant pan of this the other time and I was messing around with some different ways to use it and just threw some of it into one of these Ninja Creamy containers. Literally the whole thing. You can do the crumbs, you can do the whipping cream on top, all of it, and freeze it for 24 hours. Throw it in on the, I think I did the frozen yogurt setting. It was so delicious, so creamy. So that is another very fun way to use this and super like refreshing on the hot days as well. I was thinking I would put some of my pudding here that I have to wait on now in here to freeze, but I really want to just do from the actual whole thing. So I'm gonna just put some of this into the container and then I will try to insert a little shot of what it looks like. This has to freeze in the freezer for 24 hours before you can churn it, or else I would just show it to you immediately. But considering that it's basically you're eating hard-boiled eggs in this pudding, this is such another fun way to make use of it. Sometimes when I'm cooking, I feel like I kind of get stuck in the same taste profiles. So today we're gonna branch out a little bit. I have been so excited to try this salad. Hopefully it turns out good. I can see this being a really tasty one for summer if it is delicious, because it's like a cold salad, but we're gonna put some chicken in it so it'll still have the protein in it. But first up, I am cutting into these ribbons. I have 20 carrots here, so this will take me a little while. Might be worth getting a veggie spiralizer or something like that if we like this, but we'll cut these into ribbons and then just toss all the rest of the ingredients together. My goodness, that is quite a workout, but I have my pile of carrot ribbons here. I did end up leaving the cores. Whoops. I'm planning to just use these in salads or in soups, something where I dice that, because that was just getting too tedious to do all of that with a peeler. But that's what my stack of 20 carrot ribbons looks like. You might want to do that ahead of time. Okay, let's see if we can fit everything into my bowl here. To the carrots, I'm gonna add 3 baked chicken breasts. I just seasoned these with a bunch of salt and onion powder. This recipe would be totally customizable. I'll leave amounts that I'm doing in the description box below, but obviously there'd be so many ways to play around with this, which is one of my favorite kind of recipes. Do 3 garlic cloves. I think letting the salad sit for a day or 2 and just letting all these flavors marinate would be a really good option as well. Okay, I have 8 teaspoons of maple syrup, 8 tablespoons of soy sauce, 9 tablespoons apple cider vinegar, 8 tablespoons tahini, about a cup of cashews, and then I'll just sprinkle pretty heavily the sesame seeds. We'll give that a stir. I'm a little bit nervous. This is far out of what I normally cook, but we'll give it a try. Normally for lunch, I like to do leftovers from the night before, but yesterday we pretty much licked every last piece of supper, so I don't have enough of that for lunch today. So I'm gonna just do a really quick sheet pan dinner here. I have some potatoes. Asparagus is in season locally now, so that is quite a treat. We'll add some of that. Then I also have some sausage that we'll throw on. I tend to do this meal fairly often just because it's so simple to throw together. It's delicious, it's nutritious, and easy to pop in and then go work in the garden again while I wait for that to bake. Okay, I have a mix here of sweet potatoes and red potatoes. I'm gonna drizzle this with a little bit of, I think I'll do some coconut oil today, and then liberally with some salt. I'm not gonna do as many seasonings today just because the sausage will help give it some good flavor, but I would like to sprinkle it with a little bit of fresh herbs then before serving as well. I do not love the tough ends on asparagus, so I'm just gonna chop it just past half because a lot of these I'm seeing are thicker stalks. And then I'm putting sausage on the very top so that those juices, as they release, can go down on all the veggies and help flavor them. A few weeks ago, I made a pizza crust out of cottage cheese and eggs, and I was blown away by how everyone loved it. So today I want to do a little bit of a twist on that, and we're going to try to make some flatbread sandwiches, again with that same recipe. I do 2 parts eggs, to 1 part cottage cheese. So for the pizza, I had done 4 cups cottage cheese and 8 eggs, and then a little bit of salt and some seasonings. But today I want my flatbread to be a little thinner, so I'm gonna try it with 2 cups of cottage cheese and 4 eggs per pan, and then I also added a little bit of herbs and salt to this, and we'll see if that works to fold it over like a flatbread sandwich that way. Obviously, the wraps themselves have a lot of protein, but I wanted to add some toppings. Josh got up at 3:30 this morning, has been busy in the field, so I want to make sure we have a pretty substantial lunch for him here. These are cold cuts. This is pork roll, venison, summer sausage, and then beef bologna. All 3 of these are ones that, well, the pork and the beef were raised here on the farm. The sausage is from a deer that Josh harvested, I guess, last fall. So that will be our meats. And then we have some tomatoes, picked a bunch of lettuce from the garden, which is such a treat this time of year. These pickled onions are probably not technically ready, but I'm gonna use them anyway. I just threw those together, I don't know, a little over an hour ago, so they're not gonna be at their prime yet, but I think they'll still be delicious on there. We'll top it with this. This is Primal Kitchen's chicken dipping sauce, and then for those that like a little bit of spice, we have these jalapeno olives. Technically, you're supposed to let this cool, I think, before making the sandwiches, but I am running short on time. Look at that though. That is so fun. To say I am so impressed with this. It did not rip whatsoever in folding this. It worked beautifully and my mouth is watering just looking at this. So we'll enjoy this with some watermelon. Well, I hope that gave you some inspiration in your kitchen this week. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time.
Golden, golden thing.